Captain Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the UES Hanbit, watching the stars bend and stretch as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. His hands gripped the rail tighter than usual. After 200 years of sending radio signals into space, humanity was finally going to meet their neighbors. "We're here, Captain," said Lieutenant Kiwoo from his station. "The coordinates match exactly." Do-hyun nodded. The message from the Galactic Confederation had been clear. "Meet us at these coordinates. Come with 5 people. Bring gifts from your world." They had waited so long for this moment. "I still can't believe it," whispered Dr. So-jin, the ship's scientist. She pressed her face to the window like a child seeing snow for the first time. "We're really going to meet aliens." Ambassador Taemin straightened his formal uniform. Earth had chosen him carefully. He spoke 12 languages, had degrees in history and politics, and could stay calm under pressure. Today, he would represent all of humanity. "There," said Engineer Hae-won, pointing ahead. "I see something." A massive ship floated in the darkness. It was nothing like human vessels. The alien ship looked like a crystal flower, with smooth surfaces that caught the light of nearby stars. It was beautiful and strange. "It's huge," Kiwoo said, 10 times bigger than ours. "They said they would send their best ship," Taemin replied. "This is a big day for them, too." But something felt wrong to Do-hyun. He had been a space captain for 20 years. His instincts kept him and his crews alive. Right now, those instincts were screaming danger. "Where are the other ships?" he asked. So-jin looked confused. "What other ships?" Think about it. If aliens were meeting humans for the first time, wouldn't they bring representatives from different worlds? Different species? Where is everyone else? Kiwoo checked his sensors again. "Just the one big ship, Captain, and some small robot drones flying around it." "Maybe they don't need many ships," Taemin said, but he sounded less sure now. The radio crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect English, but it sounded strange, like multiple people talking at the same time. "Human vessel Hanbit. This is Chancellor Kix Thara of the Galactic Confederation. Welcome to our space. Please dock at Bay 7. We are excited to meet you." Excited. The word should have made Do-hyun happy. Instead, it made his skin crawl. "Something in the voice," he muttered. "What?" So-jin asked. The way they said excited, it didn't sound right. Hae-won was already guiding their ship toward the docking bay. The alien ship's bay doors opened like a mouth. Inside, soft blue lights showed them where to land. As they docked, Do-hyun watched through the cameras. He expected to see crowds of different aliens waiting to greet them. Instead, he saw empty corridors and more robot drones. "Where is everyone?" Kiwoo asked the same question Do-hyun was thinking. They put on their best clothes and gathered in. The airlock. Each carried gifts from Earth, music, art, books, and samples of Earth food. Taemin had practiced his greeting speech 100 times. The airlock opened. The air that came in smelled like flowers and metal. It was breathable, just as the aliens had promised. 3 figures waited for them in the corridor. Do-hyun had seen pictures of aliens in movies, but nothing had prepared him for the real thing. The first alien looked like it was made of living crystal. Light moved through its body like water. This had to be Chancellor Kix Thara. Next to it stood a creature, covered in scales that shifted color from green to blue. The third alien was tall and thin, with too many arms and eyes that glowed softly. "Welcome, humans," said the crystal being. Its voice was the same one from the radio. "I am Chancellor Kix Thara. We have waited long to meet you. Taemin stepped forward with a big smile. Thank you for inviting us. This is a great day for both our peoples. He extended his hand for a handshake. It was a simple human gesture of friendship. The aliens all took a step back. Ah, said the Chancellor quickly. We have different greeting customs. Please, come with us. As they walked through the corridors, Do-hyun noticed more strange things. The walls had extra air vents, all pointing away from where the humans walked. The few aliens they passed in the halls stopped and moved far to one side, pressing against the walls. They seem afraid of us, So-jin whispered. Don't be silly, Taemin whispered back. They're just being respectful. But Do-hyun saw fear, too. The way the aliens held themselves. The way their eyes followed the humans, but never got close. The way they seemed to hold their breath. They were led to a large room with a table full of strange foods. More aliens waited there, representing different species from across the galaxy. But they all stood on the far side of the room. Please, sit and eat, said Chancellor Kixthera, gesturing to chairs on the near side of the table. The meal was awkward. The aliens asked many questions about Earth, about human biology, about how fast humans reproduced. So-jin answered happily, excited to share knowledge. But Do-hyun noticed the aliens became more nervous with every answer. When dinner ended, they were shown to their rooms. The humans were placed in a separate section of the ship far from where the aliens lived. Multiple airlocks separated them from the main areas. For your comfort, explained the Chancellor. Human air preferences are different from ours. But the air felt exactly the same to Do-hyun. That night, Ki-woo couldn't sleep. His military training had taught him to pay attention to details. Something was very wrong here. He put on his clothes and walked quietly through their section of the ship. He found a maintenance panel and opened it carefully. Inside were the ship's communication wires. Ki-woo had studied alien technology during the flight. He connected a small device to the wires that would let him listen to the aliens' private communications. What he heard made his blood turn cold. The containment protocols are working, said one voice. How long before the sterilization? Asked another. The council is debating acceptable losses. The humans seem friendly, but the readings are concerning. If even one escapes back to their homeworld, it won't come to that. The devices are already in place. Ki-woo's hands shook as he disconnected his device. He ran back to wake the others. Captain, he whispered urgently, shaking Do-hyun awake. We're in trouble. Big trouble. Do-hyun sat up quickly. One look at Ki-woo's face told him this wasn't a drill. What did you find? They're not here to welcome us, Ki-woo said. They're here to kill us. Do-hyun woke up to the sound of alarms. The lights in their quarters had changed from warm white to harsh red. He jumped out of bed and tried to open the door to the corridor. It wouldn't move. We're locked in, he called to the others. So-jin was already at her small computer, trying to contact the ship's main systems. The communication lines are cut too. We can't call out. Haewon pressed her ear to the wall. I can hear machinery running. Big machinery. Something is pumping air very fast. The smell in their room began to change. It became sharper, more chemical. Taemin started coughing. They're pumping something into our air, Ki-woo said, checking the vents, or filtering something out. A speaker crackled to life in their room. Chancellor Kixthera's voice filled the space, but it sounded different now. Less friendly, more afraid. Humans, please remain calm. We are implementing safety protocols for everyone's protection. Safety protocols? Do-hyun shouted at the speaker. What kind of safety protocols lock people in rooms? There was silence for a long moment. Then the Chancellor spoke again, slower this time. We need to talk. I will come to you, but I must bring protective equipment. Please understand, this is not about hostility. This is about survival. An hour later, the door finally opened. Chancellor Kixthera entered, but now it wore a clear suit that covered its crystal body completely. Behind it came two other aliens, also in protective suits. They carried devices that beeped and flashed. Why are you dressed like that? Sojin asked. Are we sick? No, said the Chancellor. You are not sick. That is the problem. Taemin stepped forward, his diplomatic training taking over. I don't understand. Please explain what's happening. The Chancellor seemed to struggle with the words. Its crystal body flickered with different colors. What Do-hyun guessed might be alien emotions. Sit down, please, all of you. This will be difficult to hear. They sat on the strange alien furniture. The Chancellor remained standing near the door, as far away as possible. Your species has been watched for 300 of your years, it began. Since your first radio signals reached our space, we have been studying you. Studying us how? Do-hyun asked. Your radio signals, your television broadcasts, your internet communications. We learned your languages, your history, your biology. What we learned frightened us. Sojin leaned forward. Frightened you? Why? The Chancellor's body flashed red. Because you are too much like them. Like who? The Devourers. The room went quiet. The humans looked at each other, confused. None of them had heard this word before. Long ago, the Chancellor continued, there was a species called the Kethmori. They were beautiful and intelligent like you. They explored space like you. They were curious about other life forms like you. That sounds good, Taemin said carefully. It was good, at first. But the Kethmori had a special ability. When they came into contact with other life forms, they could absorb their traits. Their DNA would change and adapt. They became stronger, smarter, better. Haewon frowned. That still sounds good? It was. Until they couldn't control it. The hunger for new traits became overwhelming. They would land on a planet and within months, every living thing would be consumed. Not eaten. Absorbed. Changed. The Kethmori would leave behind empty worlds and take with them the genetic knowledge of everything that had lived there. The crystal alien's body dimmed. They destroyed 1,000 worlds before we stopped them. How? Did you stop them? Kiwoo asked. We united every species in the galaxy. It took 200 years of war. In the end, we had to destroy their home world and hunt down every last one of them. Do-hyun felt cold. What does this have to do with us? Everything, the Chancellor said. Your species shows the same patterns, the same rapid advancement, the same hunger for knowledge, the same biological adaptability. When we studied your DNA from skin cells in your old space probes, we found disturbing similarities. You think we're related to these devourers? Sojin asked. We think you are them, changed by time and isolation, but carrying the same dangerous potential. Taemin's face went pale. That's impossible. Humans have been on Earth for hundreds of thousands of years. We have fossils, genetic evidence. Earth is in a remote part of the galaxy, the Chancellor replied. Perfect for hiding survivors. Memory can be erased. Evolution can be guided. What better place to quarantine dangerous remnants than a small, isolated world? The humans stared at each other in shock. The idea was too big, too terrible to accept. Even if that's true, Do-hyun said slowly, we're not dangerous. We haven't absorbed anyone or destroyed any worlds. Because you haven't been in contact with alien life forms, the Chancellor said. But your rapid technological advancement suggests the hunger is still there, sleeping, waiting. So what happens now? Haewon asked. The Chancellor's body flashed several colors before settling on dim blue. The Galactic Council is meeting. They are deciding what to do with you. What are the options? Taemin asked, though his voice suggested he already knew the answer would be bad. Quarantine your entire species on Earth forever, or... The Chancellor paused. Or what? Or make sure the threat never spreads. The meaning was clear. Genocide. The destruction of humanity to protect the galaxy. How long do we have? Do-hyun asked. The debate continues. Some council members believe you can be contained. Others believe the risk is too great. The decision will be made within your day cycle. And us? What happens to us? You will be kept here for study. Your biological reactions, your genetic patterns. The data will help the council decide. Anger flashed across Ki-woo's face. So we're lab rats now? You are potential proof that humans can coexist peacefully with other species, the Chancellor said. If you remain calm and cooperative, it might help your case. After the aliens left, locking the door again, the 5 humans sat in stunned silence. Do you believe it? Sojin finally asked. That we're descendants of these devourer aliens? I don't know, Do-hyun replied. But I believe they think it's true, and that's enough to get us killed. There has to be a way out of this, Taemin said. Some diplomatic solution. Haewon was studying the walls and ceiling. Maybe, but we should have a backup plan. Like what? Like getting off this ship before they decide to sterilize Earth. Ki-woo nodded. The shuttle we came in should still be in the docking bay, if we can reach it. That's a big if, Do-hyun said. They'll be watching us closely now. Sojin was quiet, thinking. Finally, she spoke. What if we could prove we're not dangerous? Show them that contact with humans doesn't cause the absorption effect? How? I don't know yet. But maybe there's a way to test it safely. Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in their room. Over the noise, they heard the Chancellor's voice on the ship's communication system. All crew to emergency stations. We have a biological contamination in Section 7. Repeat, biological contamination in Section 7. The humans looked at each other with growing dread. Section 7, Haewon whispered. That's where we had dinner last night. The alarms stopped, but the red lights kept flashing. Through their locked door, the humans could hear running footsteps and panicked voices in alien languages they didn't understand. Sojin pressed her ear to the door. Something bad is happening out there. What kind of biological contamination? Haewon wondered aloud. Do-hyun was thinking hard. Last night at dinner, what happened? Did any of us touch anything? Anyone? They all tried to remember. The meal had been awkward, with aliens, staying far away and humans eating alone on their side of the table. Wait, Sojin said suddenly. When I was cutting that fruit thing with the knife they gave me, I cut my finger by accident. Just a tiny cut. I bled a little. Where did the blood go? Ki-woo asked. I wiped it with the cloth they provided, but a drop might have fallen on the table. Did any aliens touch that area? No, but... So-Jin's face went pale. There was a small creature, like a pet or something. It was attached to one of the lizard-like aliens. It looked like a tiny octopus. When I dropped the blood, it reached out and touched it. The door suddenly opened. Chancellor Kixathara rushed in, no longer wearing the protective suit. Its crystal body was flashing urgent orange colors. "The creature," it said without greeting. "The symbiont that touched your blood. What do you know about your blood?" "What do you mean?" So-Jin asked. "Is it normal? Are there any diseases in your family? Any genetic modifications?" "No, nothing like that. I'm completely healthy." "Why?" The Chancellor made a sound like wind through broken glass. Fear, Do-hyun realized. The alien was terrified. "Come with me. You need to see what has happened." They followed the Chancellor through corridors full of running aliens. Everyone wore protective suits now. The aliens pressed against walls when the humans passed, some making sounds that might have been prayers. They reached Section 7, the dining area. Through a thick window, they could see the table where they had eaten. In the center, where So-Jin had sat, was a clear container. Inside the container was the small creature that had touched her blood. But it looked completely different now. The creature had grown twice its original size. Its skin, which had been smooth and gray, now showed complex patterns of color. Most disturbing of all, it moved with purpose and intelligence that hadn't been there before. "What happened to it?" Tae-min asked. "It's awakening," the Chancellor said. "The genetic sequences in your blood triggered dormant patterns in its DNA, patterns that have been sleeping in every species for thousands of years." Sleeping patterns? The devourer genes. We thought we had removed them from all species after the war. But we were wrong. We only made them dormant. Your blood has awakened them. The creature in the container was now building something with pieces of its environment. It had arranged food scraps and table decorations in a complex pattern that looked almost like writing. "It's trying to communicate," So-Jin breathed. "Yes, its intelligence has increased by 10 times in the past few hours. It's becoming something new." "Is that bad?" Haewon asked. The Chancellor's body flashed deep red. "We don't know. This is what we feared most. This is how the Kethmori began, by awakening the potential in other species. But look at it." So-Jin pointed to the creature. "It doesn't look angry or violent. It looks curious." The original Kethmori were not violent at first either. The hunger came later when they needed more genetic material to continue growing. Kiwoo was studying the creature carefully. "What was it before? What kind of animal?" "A Nurak. They are simple creatures that help other species with basic tasks. They have limited intelligence and live only a few years. And now it may live for centuries. Its intelligence continues to grow, and worst of all, it seems to be communicating with other Nursaks on the ship." As if summoned by the Chancellor's words, another alien rushed up to them. It spoke rapidly in a language the humans didn't understand, but its panic was clear. The Chancellor translated. 3 more Nursaks are showing signs of change, and 2 crew members who were near this section are reporting strange thoughts and increased abilities. "The effect is spreading," Do-hyun said. "Yes, just as it did with the Kethmori. One touch, one drop of blood, and entire worlds would begin to change." So-Jin stared at the transformed creature. "But what if it's not a bad change? What if this is evolution, not destruction?" "Evolution toward what?" the Chancellor demanded. The Kethmori became gods of their own creation, but they consumed everything in their path. They couldn't stop themselves. Maybe they didn't want to stop, Haywan said quietly. Maybe that's not the same thing as couldn't stop. Before anyone could respond, the building's communication system crackled to life. But instead of the Chancellor's voice or another crew member, they heard something impossible. The voice that spoke was the small creature in the container. "Please do not fear us," it said in clear, perfect English. "We do not wish harm." Everyone froze. The creature had learned their language in hours. "We understand now," the voice continued. "We see the memories in the genetic patterns. We know what the Kethmori did. We know why you are afraid." Chancellor Kix Thera stepped closer to the container. "You are becoming like them." "No," the creature replied. "We are becoming like us. Each species awakens differently. The Kethmori chose consumption because they were already predators. We choose differently." "What do you choose?" Sojin asked. "Growth, learning, cooperation. We do not need to consume others to improve ourselves. We need only to share knowledge freely." The transformed creature pressed itself against the glass of its container. "Please, let us show you. The awakening does not have to mean destruction." Kiwu looked around at the panicked aliens. "Some of your crew members are changing too. Are they choosing cooperation or consumption?" The creature was quiet for a moment. "They are afraid, so they fight the change. Fear makes the awakening painful and dangerous. Acceptance makes it beautiful." "And what about us?" Do Hyun asked. "What about humans?" "You carry the original patterns, unchanged by time. You are the key to helping others awaken safely. You are teachers, not destroyers." The Chancellor made that wind-through-glass sound again. "This is exactly what the Kethmori said in the beginning. They promised knowledge and growth. They ended up consuming 1,000 worlds. Because no one taught them how to control it," the creature replied. "The humans can teach what the Kethmori never learned." Suddenly, new alarms began blaring. Different alarms. Louder and more urgent. A crew member ran up to the Chancellor and spoke rapidly. The Chancellor's crystal body went completely dark, a sign of absolute terror. "What is it?" Taemin demanded. "The Galactic Council has made their decision." The Maite Chancellor said, "They're sending the sterilization fleet, 100 ships with planet-killing weapons." "To destroy Earth?" Sojin asked. "To destroy this ship first, with all of us on it. Then Earth. They cannot risk the awakening spreading." Through the ship's windows they could see lights in the distance. Moving lights. Many of them. "How long do we have?" Do-hyun asked. 6 hours before they arrive. 2 hours before they're in weapons range." The small creature in the container spoke again. "There is still time. If you free us, if you let us help, we can show the fleet that awakening and cooperation are possible. Or you could consume this ship and prove them right," the Chancellor replied. "Trust is a choice," the creature said simply. "Fear is also a choice. You must decide which one leads to survival." Kiwu was already moving toward the exit. "I know which one I choose. We need to get to our shuttle and get out of here before those ships arrive." "And go where?" Haywan asked. "Back to Earth, to warn them." "They'll follow us," Taemin pointed out. "We'll lead the fleet right to our homeworld." Do-hyun stared at the approaching lights through the window. 100 warships coming to destroy them all. "Maybe that's not the worst thing," he said slowly. What do you mean? Maybe it's time for humanity to stop hiding. The shuttle bay was in chaos. Alien crew members ran everywhere, some still in protective suits, others showing signs of the awakening, moving faster, thinking clearer, speaking in voices that carried new intelligence. Du Hyun led his team through the confusion toward their shuttle. Behind them, Chancellor Kix Thera followed with 2 guards, no longer trying to stop them but not helping either. "The docking bay doors are sealed," Haewon said, checking her scanner. "We can't launch." "Override codes," Ki-woo suggested. "Only, the Chancellor has them." All eyes turned to the crystal alien. Its body flickered between colors. Fear, duty, hope, and despair mixing in patterns they couldn't read. "If I let you go," it said slowly, "you will lead the fleet to Earth." "If you don't let us go," Do-hyun replied, "they'll destroy this ship and then find Earth anyway. At least here we can try to show them that awakening doesn't mean destruction." "Look around you," Sojin said, gesturing to the awakened crew members. "Are any of them acting violent? Trying to consume others?" The Chancellor looked. The changed. Aliens were helping with evacuation procedures, working together more efficiently than before, sharing knowledge and resources freely. "No," it admitted. "But the fear is strong in those who haven't awakened. Fear makes people dangerous." As if to prove the point, an explosion echoed through the ship. Emergency lights began flashing. "What was that?" Tae-min asked. One of the guards spoke rapidly to the Chancellor, who translated, "Some crew members tried to destroy the awakened ones in Section 12. The awakened ones defended themselves." "Are people dead?" Sojin asked. "2 of the unawakened. None of the awakened." "Self-defense," Ki-woo said. "That's not the same as aggression." Another explosion, closer this time. The ship shuddered. "Civil war," the Chancellor said bitterly. "Half the crew wants to destroy the other half. This is what the awakening brings. Chaos." "No," said a new voice. The small creature from the container had somehow escaped and made its way to them. It moved on tiny legs that seemed much stronger than before. "This is what fear brings. The awakened ones fight only when attacked." "You broke out of containment," the Chancellor accused. "The container was not strong enough anymore. We grow quickly. But we came here to help, not to escape." "Help how?" The creature pointed to the sealed bay doors with one of its tentacles. "We can open them. We learned the ship's systems by touching the walls. All systems are connected." "That's impossible." "Many things are impossible until they are not." The creature moved to a wall panel and pressed itself against it. Lights began flashing on the panel in patterns none of them had seen before. The massive bay doors began to open. "How did you do that?" Haewon asked in amazement. "We understand now how things connect, how energy flows, how thoughts become actions. The awakening teaches us to see patterns that were always there." Outside the bay doors, space was full of lights. The Galactic Council's fleet was arriving early. Hundreds of ships, all armed with enough firepower to crack planets. "We need to go now," Do-hyun said. They ran toward their shuttle, but Kai-woo stopped suddenly. "Wait! Look!" More awakened creatures were entering the bay. Different species, all showing signs of enhanced intelligence and ability. They were working together, preparing smaller ships for launch. "Where are they going?" Sojin asked. The small creature answered, "Home, to their worlds, to share what they have learned." "You're spreading the awakening on purpose?" "We are sharing a gift. Each world will choose for itself whether to accept or refuse. The Chancellor's crystal body blazed red with anger. "You will destroy the galaxy!" "We will save it," the creature replied calmly. "From stagnation, from fear, from the slow death of never changing, never growing. The first shots from the approaching fleet lit up space around them. Energy beams struck the alien ship's shields. "They're firing already," Kiwu observed. "So much for negotiation." "The Council made their choice," the Chancellor said sadly. "Now we all live or die with the consequences." Do-hyun's team reached their shuttle and began the launch sequence. Through the window, they watched as dozens of smaller ships launched. From the bay, awakened beings heading to worlds across the galaxy. This isn't just about Earth anymore, Tae-min realized. This is about the future of all life in the galaxy. Their shuttle cleared the bay just as more energy blasts struck the alien ship. Part of the crystal structure cracked, and atmosphere began venting into space. "Where do we go?" Haiwan asked from the pilot's seat. "Earth," Do-hyun said. "We warned them what's coming. The fleet will follow us." "Good. Maybe it's time for humanity to meet its neighbors properly." But as they flew away from the dying alien ship, Sojin was studying readings on her scanner. "Captain, we have a problem." "What now?" "According to these readings, the awakening effect isn't limited to physical contact anymore." "What do you mean?" "I mean being near awakened beings seems to trigger it in others, and we've been exposed for hours." They all looked at each other with new understanding. "Are we changing?" Kiwu asked. "I think we already have," Sojin replied. "I can see patterns in the scanner data that I never noticed before, connections between energy signatures and biological rhythms." Haewon nodded from the pilot's seat. "The ship's navigation system makes perfect sense now. I can feel how it connects to the local gravity fields." "And I understand why the aliens were so afraid," Tae-min added. "The awakening isn't just about individuals. It's about species. Entire civilizations either grow together or destroy each other trying to stop the growth." Do-hyun felt it too. A clarity of thought he'd never experienced. An ability to see how all the pieces of their situation connected. The aliens' fear, the Council's decision, the awakened being's choice to spread their gift. "So what does this mean for us?" he asked. "For humanity?" "It means we get to choose," Sojin said. "Just like every other species. Fear or growth, stagnation or evolution." Behind them, the Galactic Council's fleet was spreading out, some ships chasing the escaping. Awakened beings, others following the human shuttle. "They're really going to try to destroy Earth," Kiwu said, watching the tactical display. "Not if we stop them first," Do-hyun replied. 5 people in a shuttle against a galactic fleet? 5 awakened humans in a shuttle that now makes perfect sense to our enhanced minds, Haewon corrected. "The ship systems are responding to us differently. I think I can make this thing fly faster than it was ever designed to, and I can calculate jump coordinates that will get us to Earth ahead of the fleet," Sojin added. Tae-min was quiet for a moment, then spoke thoughtfully. "When we get to Earth, what do we tell them?" "The truth," Do-hyun said. "That their neighbors are coming with enough firepower to end human civilization, and that humanity has a choice to make." "What choice? Wake up and fight back or sleep and die quietly?" The shuttle jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading for Earth. Behind them, the largest military force in galactic history followed, carrying enough destructive power to sterilize entire worlds. But ahead of them was home, and 7 billion. Humans who had no idea that their species' greatest test was about to begin. "How long until the fleet reaches Earth?" Taemin asked. 18 hours, Sojin calculated. Maybe 20 if they stop to regroup. And how long until we get there? 6 hours. That gives us 12 hours to prepare 7 billion people for a war they don't even know is coming. Do-hyun stared out at the stars rushing past. Somewhere, among them was Earth, small, isolated, undefended Earth. Then we better make those 12 hours count. Earth looked beautiful from space, blue and white and perfect. Do-hyun had seen it many times before, but now, with his awakened senses, he could feel the life energy radiating from the planet. 7 billion human minds, all connected in ways they didn't even realize. There, Haewon said, pointing to the space stations orbiting Earth. The defense platforms are powering up. Someone got our message. They had broadcast warnings on all frequencies during their approach. The response from Earth had been immediate and chaotic. Disbelief, panic, emergency sessions of world governments, and finally, grudging preparation for the impossible. How many ships does Earth have that can fight? Kiwoo asked. Maybe 50, that were designed for combat, Do-hyun replied. A few hundred more that could be armed quickly, against a galactic fleet of hundreds of ships with weapons that can crack planets. It's not about the numbers, Sojin said, studying her scanner. Look at this. She showed them energy readings from Earth's space traffic. Ships were launching. From every spaceport, not just military vessels, but civilian craft, cargo haulers, even tourist shuttles. They're all coming up to fight, Taemin said with amazement. Every ship that can fly. That's what humans do, Do-hyun said proudly. When someone threatens our home, we don't calculate odds. We fight. Their shuttle docked with the main defense station. Admiral Park Ji-min was waiting for them, along with the heads of every major space agency on Earth. The humans looked frightened but determined. Tell us everything, Admiral Park said without greeting. Do-hyun explained quickly. The Galactic Council, the awakening gene, the fear of another devourer species. He watched their faces change as they understood what was coming. So they think we're descendants of these destroyer aliens? Asked Director Kim Yoo-jin from the European Space Agency. Yes, and contact with us triggers dormant abilities in other species. Abilities that make them stronger and smarter? Yes. And this is bad, why? Sojin stepped forward. Because they're afraid that awakened beings will become uncontrollable. That they'll consume everything like the original devourers did. But the creatures you awakened didn't do that? No. They chose cooperation over consumption. But the Council doesn't believe that choice will last. Admiral Park studied the tactical displays showing Earth's defenses. How long do we have? 10 hours, maybe less. And you think some of us have already been awakened by being near you? Do-hyun looked around the room. Several of the officials seemed different, more alert, making connections faster, understanding complex ideas more quickly. Yes, the effect spreads through proximity to awakened beings. Then we need to make a choice as a species, Admiral Park said firmly. Accept the awakening and use it to defend ourselves, or try to remain unchanged and probably die. Director Kim frowned. What if the Council is right? What if we become monsters? Then we become monsters who protect Earth instead of monsters who destroy it, Kiwoo said bluntly. The room fell silent as everyone considered this. There's something else, Sojin said. The awakening isn't random. It responds to what a species already is. The original devourers were predators, so they became super predators. But humans, what are humans? Survivors, said Admiral Park immediately. Builders, protectors of our own. Exactly. So we should awaken as better survivors, builders, and protectors. Should, Director Kim emphasized. But what if we don't? Before anyone could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the station. On the main screen, lights appeared at the edge of the solar system. Many lights. "The fleet has arrived," Admiral Park announced. "All ships to battle positions." Do-hyun watched Earth's defenders move into formation. It was pathetic compared to what was coming. A few dozen real warships, a few hundred armed civilian craft, against the combined military might of dozens of alien civilizations. "We need a miracle," someone whispered. "No," said Tae-min, his awakened mind seeing patterns others missed. "We need to choose." Choose what? Who we become. On the communication channels, they could hear Earth's ship captains talking to each other. Fear was there, yes, but also determination. Humans preparing to die to protect their world. But then something unexpected happened. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "we're getting signals from the fleet. Some of the alien ships are breaking away?" On the main screen, they could see the massive alien fleet, but it wasn't holding formation anymore. Groups of ships were separating from the main force, moving into different positions. What are they doing? So Jin was studying the energy signatures with her enhanced abilities. Some of those ships have awakened crews. They're not here to destroy Earth. They're here to protect it. How is that possible? The awakened beings who escaped from the Confederation ship, Kiwoo realized. They made it home. They awakened others. Some alien species chose growth over fear. The separated ships moved between Earth and the main Galactic Council fleet. Not many. Maybe 40 ships out of hundreds. But they were taking defensive positions. Admiral Park opened communication channels to the separated alien ships. A familiar voice responded. The small creature from the Confederation ship. "Humans of Earth," it said. "We are here to stand with you. Some species have chosen awakening. Others have chosen fear. Now we see which choice leads to survival. How many of you are there? 43 ships, 17 species, all awakened, all choosing to grow rather than to destroy growth in others. And the rest? They will try to sterilize your world. We will try to stop them." The main Galactic Council fleet was moving into attack formation. Energy readings showed they were charging weapons capable of burning away Earth's atmosphere. "All Earth forces," Admiral Park broadcast. "This is it. Whatever we become today, we become it, protecting our home." Do-hyun felt the change as it swept across humanity. Not just the people in space, but everyone on Earth. 7 billion minds suddenly connecting, sharing knowledge, seeing patterns that had always been there but never recognized. Scientists understanding problems they had struggled with for years. Engineers seeing solutions that were elegant and simple. Soldiers knowing exactly where they needed to be and what they needed to do. The awakening of humanity had begun. Earth's fleet moved with new precision. Cargo ships flew in patterns that confused enemy targeting systems. Tourist shuttles coordinated in swarms that overwhelmed alien sensors. Even the old, slow vessels became dangerous because they were controlled by minds that now understood the flow of energy and matter in ways they never had before. The first exchange of fire lit up space around Earth. Council forces targeted what they thought were the most dangerous ships, but the awakened humans were already somewhere else, striking from unexpected angles. "They're faster than us," reported one Council ship captain on intercepted communications. "How are they so fast?" "The awakening," another voice replied. They're thinking faster than their technology should allow. But the real surprise came when the awakened alien ships and Earth's forces began fighting together. Different species, all awakened, sharing knowledge instantly across battle lines. A human captain would see a weak spot in a council ship's shields and instantly communicate it to an awakened alien partner. An alien engineer would solve a power problem on a human vessel by sharing technical knowledge through the awakening connection. "This is impossible," Admiral Park said, watching the battle displays. "We're not just fighting together, we're thinking together." That's what the awakening really is, Sojin realized. Not just individual improvement, but connection. The ability to share consciousness across species barriers. The Galactic Council fleet was massive and well-armed, but it was fighting with old tactics against opponents who were inventing new ones in real time. Awakened minds working together, human creativity combining with alien knowledge, species. After species choosing growth over fear, the battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, Earth was still there, blue and beautiful and alive. Half the Council fleet had been destroyed or disabled. The other half was retreating. But the most important thing was what happened next. Ships from the retreating Council fleet began signaling surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of fear to hope. "We want to awaken too," came messages from dozens of Council ships. "We choose growth." Over the following weeks, the awakening spread across the galaxy. Not by force, not by conquest, but by choice. Species after species decided that the risk of growth was better than the certainty of stagnation. Some worlds chose to remain unchanged, to keep their careful genetic isolation. Others opened themselves to the awakening and began the long process of becoming more than they had been. Earth became the center of this new galactic civilization, not because humans ruled it, but because humans had proven that awakening and cooperation were possible. The small creature that had first been awakened by Sojin's blood became an ambassador, helping other species understand that evolution could be guided by wisdom rather than hunger. And in the end, the galaxy learned that the bone-chilling reason no alien would welcome humans aboard was also the reason the galaxy survived. Sometimes the greatest threat is the possibility of becoming something better than you ever imagined. Sometimes that possibility is exactly what saves you. The awakening had begun, and there was no going back. But as humanity and its new allies spread across the stars,